You're ready, when you're ready.
Okay.
Got water?
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
You're good. Thank
Bev, I've got some, thank you.
you. It sure does. Does up right.
I know. My last day and I got it.
You ready, Darrell?
Ready.
Okay. Call the meeting to order. Bryce, would you mind doing our prayer, please? Bart, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to insult you.
Lord, thank you for this time that we get to come together, Lord, and just take care of business for our town. I pray that you'll just give us wisdom and peace and patience with the decisions that we make. I just thank you for this last year. I thank you for Janice and for her help throughout this year. You just can't put a price on it. It has really helped us a ton, and for everybody involved here, Lord, it's done a great job just trying to get this town through this and to make the decisions that are best for them. I just thank you, praise you for all that you do in Jesus' name. Amen.
Well, it could be worse than calling your son. All right, join me in the pledge, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Emmons,
Here.
Miller,
Here.
Rowe,
Here.
Barker,
Here.
Brennan,
Here.
Hall,
Here.
Lau,
Here.
Citizen comments, seeing nobody signed up there, so go to number 6, consent agenda. Discuss consideration and possible action for consent agenda. The following items are considered routine by the Lindsay City Council and will be enacted with one motion. Discussion desired on any item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. A, approval of minutes. Well, does anybody have something they want to remove from the?
I would like to remove the financials.
Financials.
Discuss them.
Okay.
Point of order, a member of the council will have to make that motion.
Okay. So if we need the letter E,
I'll make a motion to approve everything but E.
Second.
motion's been made to second to approve everything but E. Roll call, please.
Lau,
Here.
Yes or no?
It's easy.
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Brennan,
Yes.
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Miller, Emmons,
Yes. Okay, financial reports.
I wanted to go over this is May reconciled, the short, very version of the financials. And the thing I really want to prioritize in this whole short and condensed report is we have made a little bit of progress, as it states there, that we really should have 10% and 30% of our annual revenues for reserves. We're at 4.4%. So we're making inches, maybe quarter inches, but we still have a long ways to go. And I think you'll see that reflected in your budget message of how good stewards the council has been this past year in monitoring the spending and the expenditures. And I just want to highlight that. The next sheet after that is your 1 cent emergency tax fund. This is also just back down to the ending balance as a percentage of annual revenues. We due to the increased sales tax that we have had over the last few months in this fiscal year, we haven't always had to transfer out of here to make payroll or subsidize the general fund in those areas. So we're at 52%, so we're running good to maintain that balance, but also that does fluctuate down when we have those short revenue months with sales tax. Again, that has been through good financial review by the council and understanding how we're having to pull that in order to make ends meet in the general fund. And that's all I really wanted to go over. If you have any questions, I can answer. If not, we'll move on.
Anybody have a question or the financials there?
I'll make a motion to approve item E.
Second.
Motion's been made and second to approve item E. Roll call, please.
Inman,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Drennan,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Lau.
Yes.
Number 8, public hearing to discuss the proposed fiscal year 2023, 2024 budget for the city and Lindsay Public Works Authority.
This is an opportunity required by law to have our public input, answer any questions that may come up, or ask any additional questions. We went through the review a couple hours or 3, I believe, a couple of weeks ago. And the bottom line is our general fund revenue budget is approximately $3.8 million. Our Lindsay Public Works budget is approximately $7.7 million. I did, as required, in your budget packet, if you brought it, budget message identifying how those transfers were coming in and those things that really affected us this past year and helped us get back toward making the city of Lindsay financially stable and increasing those fund balances. Public have any questions, or the council have any questions?
I'm looking at, on the food bank, we've got it to where now we've increased by 2,000, so we're at 10,000, right? I'm looking at asking for 2 more to go to the food bank because, and if we have to take it from another social service, then simply because I talked to them at the food bank this past week, they keep increasing and increasing and increasing. We're just now beginning at the summer months. Kids are at home. They could use the extra money. They could use the food. So they went from $250 a month ago to $312. So however we need to do that, I'm asking that we add to where it's $1,000 a month to the food bank, rather than $10,000 for 10 months, $12,000 for the year.
You got an idea of where to pull it from?
Chamber.
You already clicked on 2, getting the first 2.
There's really no place other than that or Delta.
I'm certainly not against that. One thing, only question I've got a little bit is, and this is more of a legal thing. And you may, I don't know for sure. If you show up there, do you have to show residency in the city of Lindsay? Is that, I mean, I don't have any idea how it works. So can anybody outside the city of Lindsay participate in that?
From what I understand it, I think that some people outside, I really think we should make it for just residents. I don't know how to work that, I don't know how to do that, I don't know how, if they know how to do that.
I don't know. I mean, I'm looking, you know, a lot of times there's right, wrong, and legal,
Right.
and I'm not against the food bank in any form or fashion or doing that, but I guess that's one question I
I
got.
might mention, I was gonna have the city attorney review the existing contract. In the contract, does ask for a count of what's inside, what's out, and there was a little struggle with that because of the air code all being the same. And I would assume they just may have to ask for addressing, and then just show that back to the city as, you know, that's how much, and then that would evaluate probably next year's funding for you. Well, most of our money may be going outside the county.
Yeah,
That would just be something you might wanna look at next year, and, when, the city attorney reviews it, he may add some language in there. We'll have to review with them, but they should submit those reports monthly, and I think that states in that contract now, but I haven't received any reports, so.
Kind of along those lines in my discussions with Janice, I think it might, you know, once I get a look at the contract, I don't know if it's necessarily a problem, but maybe we could do this organized through the Chamber of Commerce instead of through the city, the money from the food bank. And then the food bank could allocate, you know, whatever funding it felt would be necessary to support the food bank from the application that we make to the Chamber of Commerce, so that we could separate ourselves from those issues altogether. But that'll be something that I have to take a look at in the contract.
so you're saying allocate money to the chamber, and that money would then go out to the food bank?
Put it in.
Or it would just be the chamber's
It
responsibility?
would be the
to come
Chamber's
up with that?
responsibility to decide whether or not to fund the food bank, but,
No.
you know, that's one way to fix any issues with there being public funds being allocated to, you know, outside of the municipality.
Can the dispersal amount to the food bank be included in the contract with the chamber?
Yes, I think it could, and I do want to kind of explore, you know, the language of that contract to make sure that it would be in line with allocating.
I know it's not a roundabout way, but, you know, I'm a little concerned about somebody saying, you know, you guys are feeding everybody in the 3 counties. I'm not saying we are. I don't know. Now, if we are, they still need it. I'm not even against that totally, but, you know, it's, you don't want to get in trouble
Right.
for that. And I don't know what the best way to do that is. I don't know.
So I think the question is, additional funding for the food bank, I mean, or where to take that from? Correct.
Yes. Could, I don't know, this might be a bad idea. I'm not saying it's a good one. Could we amend the
I mean, we can make it.
At a later
the
time?
budget at a later time, use
After we
it?
get the contracts
Yeah.
worked out.
Yeah.
Okay, let's do that then.
I think that'd be a good idea.
And, you know, we might find we've got more revenue someplace than we thought or something, or maybe less revenue than we thought, but still, I mean, I think the intent would be that we're gonna try to do it for sure. But we'll look at,
Well, the main thing with him checking over the contract and stuff, where we can stick with what we've been trying to do, is just trying to do everything right.
Yeah.
if there's a, you know, a better way legally to do it, you know, we want to try to stay legal for sure.
So like you said, right, wrong, you know, wrong.
Right, wrong, and legal.
It's definitely right to try to feed people.
Right.
We want to be legal when we're doing it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay, so Any other issues with the budget?
Now, with the money that we allocate to the chamber, are we just gonna hand it to them? Or will we say this needs to be this, how are we gonna do that? Are we gonna designate it, or are we just gonna?
You would in that contract, X amount for specific purposes. I think the attorney could draw those up to meet those.
Well, if we pay it out by the quarter, that would give you 3 months to get the contract number out before the first payment's due, right?
Absolutely.
I'd like to bring up a item, talk about and discuss. Been brainstorming since I'm retired, and I made myself a few notes that I've noticed vehicles being taken home by various departments.
Well, we got, we're talking budget right
Well,
now.
that's part of the budget, isn't it? The police?
Well,
It is, isn't it?
yeah, but I don't know that. Well,
As far as an allocation of budget
Funding.
experiences and budget allocations and funding for the police vehicles or other city vehicles used by employees would be appropriate under this discussion.
Okay, all right, well, go ahead. But we've got, I think, tell me, I'm pretty sure EMS, has taken home their vehicles.
You've got one in EMS, you've got several in police, of course, your public works drive vehicles home, department heads.
And that is my main concern, is that money that's going out for this, I know it may not be much, but anything that we can get back to put on the bottom line would be better off. Instead of letting it, let's say, let the game continue as it's been. I believe that the chief and probably fire chief,
Fire chief has vehicles.
yeah, it should, it's okay for them to take
Well-
their vehicles home, but everybody else, they got cars,
I think,
just like I do.
I think the biggest thing for having the department heads and whatever, having their own, having a vehicle there is the response time if we have an issue, I think is the main
Right.
deal. I mean, I know like the electrical and the water department heads, if they have an issue, they can call, they can come right in rather than having to go swap vehicles and
Right.
reload.
Right.
But,
I don't know the police chief.
I think the police are the same way. I think it's all about response time, I think, isn't it?
It's all about response time, and a lot of communities give that right to those certain people. Response, also recruitment, that helps. Your neighborhoods like to see a police car parked in the driveway, keep a little deterrent down. So there's lots of reasons that a lot of communities allow the vehicles in those areas, particularly officers, who are the ones who are going to be called back in emergencies. So as far as them taking them home and effect on the budget, it is such a minute that we're giving. Is it worth that versus the morale that you're going to create by having them park at the station and then go to the station? You just can't, police officers can't operate that way. You got a wreck down here, they need you down, they need everybody on the scene, and you have to run down and get your car, start it. Probably might not start, it might be one of those cold nights. So it affects a lot of things. Then it becomes a public issue. Why aren't they allowed to take the cars home? Because he could have been there 5-10 minutes faster, and I had somebody in that car I needed out to help with our officers in traffic control. So it's a lot about response time, like Councilman Brennan mentioned.
Well, I do know that if you live here in the city limits, 5 minutes, 10 minutes?
5 and 10 minutes on an accident's a long time.
Well, I realize that.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about the expense. It's not necessary. There's a lot of people that function, a lot of cities. I'm from a few of them. They don't let their people take them home. and they do just fine. And what I'm saying is, we got people here, our citizens here, are scraping just to get by.
Now, should
And
they
it-
park him out front and let them run for 2 hours? No.
No,
But,
just,
you know,
yeah, leave it at home.
I
mean, leave it at
And
the,
also, Don, too, one of the factors is this is one of the slim benefits that they get.
Yeah.
They take less pay for.
Yeah. And we have trouble maintaining the amount of policemen that we need. We start taking this stuff away from them, then they're gonna go somewhere where they can drive that car. And we're already down 2, 3 policemen, and it's a big time recruitment factor if they're able to drive those cars home,
okay.
and it makes a difference.
Well, I guess, I mean, I can't accept it myself personally. Because any money that we can save, put back on the bottom line. Like my daddy always told me, a penny saved is a penny earned. I mean, I just wanted to lay that out there. And one other item that is budget that I'm concerned about is, I know, I've said it myself, these citizens that I've talked to, they lack trust in what we're doing here. And that's sad to say. I think we should see if we can get the money to have time clocks put in at all the department heads, so all the people that's working for the city can be held accountable. Because on more than one occasion, they've been doing things they should have been doing. So if you got a time clock there, they got a clock in, well, they're gonna have to account for it. Otherwise, you're just taking their word for it. That's the reason I'd like to see time clocks in each department.
So do we not trust our employees?
I myself, I don't trust very many people until I get to know them. And I don't know any of the employees. I mean, not any of the department heads and stuff. I don't even know any of the police officers
Okay,
or the fire
that would
department.
fall upon you to make that effort, Don, to meet all of them then.
I think too, Don, you know, city manager has, you know, different department heads.
I realize
And
that.
if that department head is not functioning within that framework of, you know, have people, you know, sleeping on the job or whatever, or doing things they're not supposed to, well, then that's up to that person, I think, to, you know, hold them accountable and say, we need to get this done. I don't know that a time clock is going to help that situation.
Well, it'll make them think a little bit
Well,
more. Because
If I sign in and I'm gonna look the way goof off, I'm still gonna look for a way to goof off, you know, I mean, I've
slick
been
enough.
places where you signed in, I've been places where you didn't sign in. Some of the best employees I had they forget to sign in. Now, I know that's not maybe acceptable when you have a situation like that, but I think it's tough because it, you know, I think it's kind of, you're talking about trust. That guy at the top, he's got to be trusted by the city manager, and then he's got to develop that trust in those people. And if I'm working for Josh and I'm not showing up on time, Josh needs to hold me accountable for that. And that's one thing. I agree with you. It's easy to tell whether somebody's on time or not. And one thing you can dismiss somebody for is not being on time. It's pretty easy to do because it's a black and white. You can say, okay, you're supposed to report to work at 8 o'clock on Monday morning. You didn't get here till 8:15.
you're consistently late or whatever, and,
Well,
you know, then
it's-
toodles,
But
kick rocks in the road.
There, you can hold somebody accountable for that pretty easily, because that's a manageable thing. You can see and say that, you know, if the department heads felt like that was a problem, I think however they needed to handle that situation, because ultimately, I think that would be, the city manager would be able to work with those people and say, hey, we got a big problem here, people not getting their stuff done on a timely fashion, and not reporting to work on time. And hopefully you'd see that before the city manager said it, but if they didn't, well then, they have to hold that person accountable at that point. I'm not different with you on making them accountable. I think that's a good idea, but I've been where we signed in when we didn't sign in, and I don't know that it always helped.
Okay, well, I know, like I said, in all the years I've been out here, not in Oklahoma, but working, time blocks was everywhere. You had to punch in. If you went out to lunch, you had to punch out. That was pretty much commonplace.
I don't know, I guess I've never done it before, so it's tougher for me to say, but I haven't done that before. I've had to sign in a couple of years, but sign out.
Okay, well, I wanted to bring this up for discussion because I want to be able to
And if you
watch
see
this and study this when I go home.
if you see it's a problem, I think we'll bring it attention to the city manager, and the city manager can take it up with the appropriate department head and say, we've got this concern and we need some feedback one way or the other, find out what's going on. Is that?
Doesn't the city council vote on the monies appropriated to these various departments?
That's what we're doing. Yeah, that's what we're doing right now. We're getting ready to.
There you go. So as far as the time clock goes, that would be left up to us to vote where we can put, I don't know what the cost is. I haven't went that far yet.
Well, that would be another thing, is how to do the cost of buying a time clock system.
Right.
And then managing it.
And then you mentioned about a trust.
Mhm.
If we don't trust our city manager to trust the department heads, to trust the guys they're working for, where does it start?
And what it actually starts with us.
Exactly. So we have to trust that the people we have in charge are doing the right job. They're
Okay.
taking care of things.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, but the biggest thing is, you look at it now, some mistakes were made in the past. And we're trying to correct those mistakes, which will not be solved overnight. But we're punishing the employee because of the mistakes made in the past. And I don't think that's the proper time right now to do it. We need to get our house in order financially and in a positive way. And then if we feel like there's still a problem, then we deal with it then. But right now, we're asking the employees to try to correct the mistakes that were made in the past. Because that's just, being a short time on this council, that's things that has been done. I look at thinking, what were they thinking? So, but with the help of the interim, hopefully the future, that we've got our house in order, and it's going to take 3 to 4 or 5 years before we get out of this thing. And having to distrust and the anger of the employees is not where we want to be. I mean, and so.
And if I see somebody that's, sleeping in a city vehicle, I'm gonna report it to the city manager and say, can you address this situation? Maybe there's a legitimate reason for it. I wouldn't think so, but if there was, that find that out, and if not, then they'll take appropriate steps to deal with that.
So then my understanding is it's going to be business as usual unless we catch them in the act. Is that
And that's with or
fair
without a
to
time clock.
assume?
Yeah, I mean,
What I'd recommend, Don,
Mhm.
is that, me being here a year, I haven't seen that to be a abused issue. Each department head will deal and has dealt with employees who are routinely late or arrive. But also these same employees are not going to the shop, they're meeting people on after hours when they're called out, because you've got to punch in after hours. that's gonna be where it gets confusing and difficult to do, because we respond so much after hours in all departments. That's, police, fire, public works, so the time clocks are, if we were a larger organization and you, I mean, we're small enough, we pretty much know everybody's move during the day. And when they have issues at night, I know it, whether it's water, electric, or accidents or whatever. So time clocks right now, I think moving forward, that might be something just to assess with your concern. And if it becomes a problem, management should look at it and bring it to light. But at this time, I don't see that as a big problem within our organization.
If I'm in a car wreck, I don't want somebody punching the clock. I want them to come get me. You know, whoever's there, and the police to show up as fast as possible. And I know that's not the norm. You're talking, maybe talking day by day, but, you know, at some point, that's gonna be, somebody's gonna catch you on that. And I'd rather be able to trust the guy and come get me and go out there, because biggest thing we want is, if there's an issue or problem, electricity goes out, we want the guys out there responding that fast if they can. We want the fire department to respond that fast, EMS, everybody else, police. And I think that's, only way I know to do that is have some trust. And if we can't trust that individual that's doing that, we need to replace the individual that's not doing the job correctly there. I don't differ with you that everybody should do their job, but I think it's probably going to have to develop some trust. If we're not getting it, and you know individuals, tell the city manager that, and let them deal with that individual. Find out why that's not being done. Anything else?
Everything else is as we discussed prior to. I think the budget message really drives most of it home on our plan moving forward, and how we still have a ways to go. So I don't have anything else to add or change.
Okay, so
We don't, let's see, we did the public hearing, we don't necessarily, I don't think we need to make that change on the,
so we're looking, just gonna
monitor
monitor
that.
that and look at it in the future for a possible budget amendment on that.
So 9, no action, and 10 is the budget resolution. Basically, that's standard status resolution. It gives your city manager the authority to make departmental transfers between departments, and the authority to transfer between funds as approved in this budget. So anything other than what's approved in this budget, council action will be needed to make any transfer between funds.
So we need to act on
Just approve the resolution.
number 10. We need a motion for number 10, correct?
Yeah.
And make a motion that we adopt the resolution 2023-03, fiscal year 2023-2024 budget.
Second.
Motion's been made to second. Roll call, please.
Lau,
Nay.
Hall,
Yes.
Brennan,
Yes.
Barker,
Delta is in this, so I'm gonna have to abstain.
Rowe,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Inman,
Yes. Okay, now we've got
Number 11.
number 11, Citricom, I'm sorry. Discussion, consideration, possible action to approve lease agreement with Citricom Leasing for establishing new phones in all city and LPWA departments.
We have had considerable problems with our phones from my understanding, with staff for a while. We don't have caller ID, we drop calls, it's staticky, they're outdated. They should be doing things like us transferring between departments, they don't do that. And in addressing and looking at our Windstream bill, we're paying for a lot of those things that's not happening. And I will let, this is George Burke with T20, who has this program, and explain the voice over IP, the Windstream bill, and those kind of things.
Right, so the new voice over IP is where the standard is now for the phone systems that are coming out. And basically, you have internet provided already in all those locations that you're already paying a bill for. On top of that, you're paying a secondary transfer line that's actually going on the old POTS lines, if you will, on top of each one of those services. So the phone system that was in there existing, basically what we're talking about is moving you into what they call a UCAS, which is a Unified Communication Application Service. And it makes it a whole lot easier for you to do those very things that you was mentioning, such as the communication between each one of the departments. So if a department has the ability to move from a phone call from one department to another very quickly, very easily, all the conference calling, all the voicemail, things that a modern business should have on that part of it as well. The cost savings is in here, so it's not like we're asking for more money out of the deal either. It's basically going to save you money in addition to having a brand new phone system put into place for you guys as well.
Guys, their phone system's horrible. I mean, it was, when I was here, it's ridiculous, so I'll just tell you, if you can get it done cheaper, I'll just amen what you're saying, because it,
Now, on the second sheet, it says the police department has the address of 101 East Kiowa. Now, is that where the dogs are at?
Yes,
And
that's,
then, are we not doing anything out here? Or is this all the same thing?
And then, I apologize if the address is wrong. That is on me.
Oh, okay, okay.
I was really, I pulled from the website, so that's a perfectly,
Okay, I
I may be
understand.
incorrect in my
But it's
address.
both
I did go,
But it is both
I-
locations?
went out the industrial,
yes, went out to the industrial complex. Well, that's where we went out to. So I
So
did
it-
not go to the other one though, so
Okay,
So
so
we just
are we
counted
doing,
phones
are we doing phones
based upon,
at the dog pound, or are we just?
yes, I think I let them off, so, they do need it.
Okay,
And,
okay.
so with some modification, that's just one phone.
so the phone, basically it's a pretty easy phone to figure out on that part of it. For the phone, it's the physical phone. For the system itself, it's $35 a month, and that's.
No, so that's what you
that's
had.
everything. Right, yeah, that's if you have internet, that's an important factor. So
Oh,
make sure
okay.
you have internet out there.
He does.
Okay, perfect. Then we're good. So I just make sure I throw that caveat out there before because we're like, why do you know?
so approximately how much do you think we can save?
Do you want to speak to that?
We reviewed, all the departments. I mean, we're down to almost $1,200 close. I mean, we're paying for some internet. That's something I would recommend moving forward with. It seems like we may be paying duplicate internets because Suddenlink is supplying us, but we're getting billed by Windstream on some. So those Suddenlinks need to be reviewed that we're not being duplicated. And I think he noticed to us, there's a lot of fiber line and we're wondering why you're coming in a different way. And Daryl probably will help us look at those when this thing starts being implemented. So I think the final is 1,200 and something, maybe add $35 on that other one. You are going to save, I've got a sample here. EMS service, your amount due is $540. I think the EMS service on that new bill is, this is the Windstream bill. I don't have that right in front of me. So can you show me what the EMS will be charged on phone service now? 128, so you see the difference,
Yeah.
and that just kind of,
Will you be available when we call, if we have issues or problems or difficulties? How accessible are you to provide service for us?
That's a great question. So we have offices in Moore, Tulsa, and in Manila, Oklahoma. So we're all over the place with 28 technicians. So we're constantly all over the place.
So
Yes,
it'd be
to answer the question.
quick.
Yeah, we run a 2 to 4 hour service for those. We
Okay.
try our hardest to do.
But that's a big deal up to me. I mean, if you get a new phone system, I can get 10 cans and save us money. But
And I'm like, I mean, it's really pretty much what we're doing is plugging in
Sure.
cell phones. I mean, really is what they're
Yeah.
the same principle. It's the exact same principle.
you guys have questions for him? Or?
This entire system is basically internet-based, right?
Correct.
And what happens when internet goes down?
So it's the same principle as your phone system going down. Likewise, your phone lines go down. It works the same. And your internet usually is based upon those fibers, which is really close to your same phone lines.
And I think that's why we need to take an assessment of our internet connections and coming and going as well.
That's why I think there's some redundancy, just in case the system went down, you still have hardline communications.
That's kind of, like right now, we're hardline, but, I mean, you're back into, I haven't seen this billing in a long time. We get billed for long distance calls. That's very unusual in today's environment. And the question I was gonna ask you, how many other municipalities do y'all serve, or have y'all?
We serve approximately 12, in Oklahoma alone, we serve 12 other municipalities in Oklahoma alone. But we nationwide, because we got probably 133 different municipalities that we're working with, including the city of Minneapolis. So is probably the largest one. We just did that one 2 years ago.
Who are you doing in Oklahoma?
In Oklahoma, we do Wynnewood, the city of Wynnewood. We do the city of Thackerville. We do the city of Madill, the city of Davis. Trying to think of all the different names on some of those ones like that. So, but same size cities it's a very common place for us on that part as well. Tishomingo, the city of Tishomingo as well.
Mr. Mayor, may I respond to
Sure.
Mr. Miller's query? My personal office uses voice over internet protocol, and we have 2 internet providers. In case one of them goes down, we have backup. I do know that currently we are negotiating to have drops at some of our buildings with respect to from one company, and we can do that for another, so that we can have that redundancy built in.
Correct. Yeah, it's just a public safety question.
Very effective for the dispatch area.
Any other questions that you guys have? Or?
This is a year-to-year lease. Explain that provision.
So it's basically every 3 years we're going to bring in phones. That's really what it boils down to. So the phones we're going to write it back in. We're going to bring you some new phones and continue down that path, and it still continues down that $35. It is basically that's how we kind of.
So we're getting all new phones.
Basically every 3 years. And I might be wrong on a few cents, so don't hold me to exactly 35. It could be 35, 50, 30, or 34, 45. It has to do with, because I know you guys just went down because you guys had, I think she said something about 2 more phones for the library. When we did that, it actually dropped it down a few cents. So I mean, it's within 50 cents or $1 or something like that. So.
How long would it take once ordered and install and that transition done?
It's usually about a 30-day turn to be safe. I would ask for 30 days. Usually, realistically, it was 2 weeks. But
So how do you coordinate that through the dispatch who, can't be down during transition much, or?
And that's exactly that is one of the ones we definitely want to pay attention to as far as that side goes. So some of the dispatch centers that we've actually done, because we actually do the 911 centers as well for Love County and for Marshall County. And so we have to do those. We actually have to schedule a time set for those and say, okay, for the next few minutes, make sure that the calls are going to wherever they need to be set to for those dispatch sets. That's what we need to do, and make sure that the forwarding is already put for those.
So my other question is, like a power outage, they don't have a generator out there. Those phones could be rolled over to someplace out.
So your phone can go to your cell phone.
Okay.
So that same desk phone that you have, realistically, can go to I answer everything on my cell phone. I don't, like, you call me, you call my desk, yes, it rings at my desk, but I'm never there. So I'm picking you up usually from my cell phone. So it's the same application set because it is internet based. So anyone that would like for that part of it to be a functionality of it, it's a very simple thing to add. It's just an app to add to their phone.
And somebody will come and make sure everybody's comfortable, if they have questions or
100%,
concerns,
yes,
how to do this. I mean, I'm sure it's relatively easy, but still.
Now, the pricing fixed for 3 years?
Yes, sir.
It is fixed. So this, what was it, 1289 was, now that'll be for the next 3 years. That's what our monthly bill will be.
That's correct. That's correct. The only way it would go up or down is if you guys decided to get more phones or use less phones.
Okay, okay.
So, I mean, if all of a sudden you said, look, we cut a whole department out, we don't need these phones any longer, at the end of the year, we're needing this to go away. Okay, great, no problem. too as well.
Any other questions? So basically what we'd be doing, we'd authorizing this new phone system if we vote yes on this or move forward with it. Entertain a motion if nobody has any other questions.
Make a motion to approve the lease agreement.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Roll call, please.
Inman,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Brennan,
Yes.
Yes.
Lau,
Lot, yes.
Okay, thank you. Neighborhood traffic concerns, discussion, consideration, possible action on establishing methods to control traffic concerns in certain neighborhoods.
I was contacted, initially regarding traffic using certain streets as a thoroughfare, speeding. I know we've had an accident in some of those areas. There was, I believe he was an officer kind of spearheading a move for speed bumps and do those kind of things. I've asked, Chief Kraft to define, what kind of traffic control or, and ticketing that has occurred along those corridors and give us any feedback that, or solutions that the police department could handle in giving us a direction to move towards. I know speed bumps are there. I know the neighborhoods, that for those who live in the neighborhood are a problem. Those who are speeding through as a cut through, it is a deterrent. So this item allows that discussion and ask questions among us here and the chief.
Chief, maybe come up and give us your idea or input or.
The main concern, I think, is more Winona Street. Several residents have called and complained of speeders and the reckless driving. We sit on the Winona Street trying to run traffic, but a marked police car slows them down, so they don't have a whole lot of traffic on the street. I think I pulled from January of this year to like today, and we've only had 8 contacts on that street. Residents have asked for, there used to be a stop sign at Jackson and Winona, and I don't know if that would slow it down or what.
Stop sign would slow the thoroughfare, so that may be something to consider in that.
I think it would be a better option than speed bumps.
Speed bumps are, I was sitting in that position when they tried the speed bumps or talked about speed bumps. They went over like a screen door in a submarine. Now, I'm not saying they're not effective, but the people in that area were, I don't speak, I mean, that may be the worst offenders, I don't know, I'm not saying we don't put them in, because that's kind of what we're talking about. If it's effective, maybe that's what we need to do, I don't know. I know when I see a police car, I slow down. I don't care how fast I'm driving. If I'm driving below the speed limit, I still slow down.
Yeah.
What about the, in these construction sites, they got them little lights that when you drive by, it says you're speeding, it'll let you know, flashes,
Yeah.
and it's run by solar power.
I was thinking the same thing, something to where it flashes, hey, slow down.
Right.
I had looked into speed bumps too. I mean, 'cause I live on Francis, it's the other cut through street.
Yeah.
And, the kid that got hit by the car actually lives on my street, and they play in the street. I've been fearing this for a long time. And it's young and old, as far as various ages that, I know of one lady that seemed like she probably just let off the brake and just coasted down the hill. It was, sailing by the time you get to the end. And down by 4th and Francis, there's a lot of parking on each side. And those little kids I've seen them run out and chase a ball in front of me, but I drive a fairly tall truck. My kids are grown now, they're not there, but I have grandkids, and like I said, if speed bumps isn't the thing to do, I'm just trying to think of something. I sent an email to everybody, and I mean, my thing was, I like to be proactive rather than reactive, and I mean, unfortunately, we're being reactive at this point. Ultimately, kids don't need to be playing in the streets, but you can't be everywhere, you know, to watch your kids. I mean, you try to be. You can't protect your kids at all times, but that's what, as a parent, you try to. And
Well, I think, like I said, whatever works, I think is what we want to do, because I don't know what that is, for sure.
but I looked into some signs too, like what you were talking about. I was thinking of one. There's one out there by Libby's at Goldsby.
Yeah.
And I wasn't paying attention, and I think it said, "Really?" Because I was going quite a bit too fast.
Flashing at you.
But you know, some of them are 1,000, or you know, or quite a bit more expensive. But like you said, they're solar, so we wouldn't have to run electric to them. But it would, at least at night, it would be something that they would see, and maybe during the daytime too. But just, I was just trying to think of ideas.
Maybe since Wyoming is such a long road too, I mean, the speed bump may be in the middle somewhere,
Yeah.
since there isn't any more places to put a stop sign.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, they come down off that hill, I live next door to him, and they come down off that hill on Francis, and even, you know, I've been guilty myself coming down, and you're having to slam on the brakes on that one stop sign. But for the most part, Jerry, they slide through that, and they're going 25, 30 miles an hour. Then they get down where the kids are, and, you know, I mean, theoretically, they need to keep their kids in their yard on their, but they have bicycles, they have scooters, they have all these things that they're in the street. So there's really no controlling of that. So however we need to, you know, slow things down, whatever we need to do, then, you know, Francis is like the racetrack, and then Winona, you know.
yeah, well, 4th and 7th Street is, I mean, it's just as bad.
Yeah.
Even on Francis, I had a couple of residents ask about installing a stop sign at 7th and Francis.
Yeah.
Not so much for that, but for visibility over the hump. They just couldn't see that it really needs one there.
Well, now, we've got one going east and west,
Right.
but it's just the north and south.
Yeah.
Well, you can put those speed bumps in and they can be removed if, you know, and I'm not saying that's just an option, you know, if you.
That's what I was thinking of, is the rubber ones. That way, if it wasn't good, we could take them up rather than doing something asphalt, something more permanent.
Yeah, and I think Brandon was telling me that all they gotta do is screw them in.
Screw them down, yeah. I'm up for anything you guys wanna try.
Yeah.
I'm with y'all.
I think there may be, we might look at grants somewhere. I know in one community, they have a little portable signage like y'all had talked about, and they move it to their problem areas, and they set that up for a while, and people get used to seeing that flashing, and then move it to another area. So it may be something to look into as far as funding a mobile unit like that to help in other problem areas.
You also, if you do put speed bumps out there, you probably need to warn. I know that you're right, but city can put them out there, but if I don't know, or somebody doesn't know, and they hit that speed bump, they're aggravated about, I wish y'all had told me there's speed bumps, you know, you had some signage possibly to warn people.
Sure.
Would you, your first recommendation was Winona and Jackson. Would we go ahead and give him the right to go ahead and put a stop sign there and let the community see that, hey, we're trying to solve the problem, then come back a month or two later and discuss more of the speed bumps at other spots, because there might be other spots in town that we need to take a look at, that you can be checking into.
Yeah, because there's another spot, I think, on the south side, they're saying something about even stop sign, and I can't remember off the top of my head which one it was.
The mobile sign, if it, you know, the flashing sign, if it might be, I don't know what it costs.
Well, I know Fourth and Chickasaw, I drive in enough that if you're going east and west, everything's good. But if somebody's coming from the north and south, they might think you have a stop sign and you don't. So it might be we put out a little bit more more four-way stops, then that would break it down a little bit more. But if we go ahead and let him put stop signs up on Winona and Jackson, then I know that young man lives right there, or with grandparents live there, so they could see that the city is doing something.
At one point in time, maybe somebody can answer to this. At one point in time, it seemed to me like every intersection in Lindsay was a four-way stop.
Pretty close.
It was.
And I don't know what the reasoning was to pull all these, because when you did, you just opened up a racetrack.
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
And you said something, I mean, some people don't stop, but at least they slow down. I mean, they should stop, don't get me wrong, but slowing somebody down is at least better than not having even slowing down, because they should stop, and everybody should stop, look both ways like the law says, but even the stop sign will slow down somebody treat it like a yield sign.
I do realize too, at one point in time, I think this street right here from the fire station and stuff, they removed all of them, so it was quicker for the emergency services to get to the highways and stuff. I understand that, but
We still got lots of sirens, we do.
Sure.
I mean, I think
Yeah.
The dips slow you pretty much.
yeah.
Well, I think that's a good start to look at the stop signs and then see from there. If we
From
need-
there, let him
Yeah,
bring
kind
us
of
information.
give us, see how that's working. If it's not working, well, then we need to go something, make two different things. Because there's no way to explain to somebody that I accidentally ran over your kid.
Yeah.
You know, that's just not a discussion anybody wants to have. And for us, we want to make sure everybody's safe and protected, so.
I wouldn't mind seeing a sign out there where Wino goes into 76. You got that little hill right there?
Stop sign there.
Because I've noticed when I'm out in my yard mowing or whatever, they come down around there, and there's a sign right there, probably right at the curve of it. Say, be careful or whatever.
Well, while we do this, give him the authority to put a couple stop signs in, and then look and see what what like a flashing sign costs wise, and then also come back and report to us maybe next month, and then speed bumps, see what maybe some people are doing. And I'm not saying we don't put speed bumps in. I'm just telling you they weren't very popular, but if it slows people down, that's, I've made people mad at me before, so it won't be.
We'll get with the Public Works Department and get some signs ordered, that need to be breakaway and those kind of things. And then we will, if you've got any further suggestions, we will have them get installed in the proper locations, and then monitor the traffic and go from there.
But we're all
Thank
for
you,
not,
Jen.
we won't do something. Yeah. Okay. That doesn't require any action by us, so.
No.
13, interlocal agreement, Oklahoma Department of Corrections, discussion, consideration, possible action to approve real estate and leasing services interlocal agreement with Oklahoma Department of Corrections and Lindsay Police Department.
We're getting a new contract. It should be 23-24. It's got 22-23, but the individuals have an office upstairs in the police department with the Department of Corrections, and I believe for several years. So, just a renewal of standard lease.
I'll make a motion to renew the agreement.
Second.
Motion's been made second. Roll call, please.
Blau,
Nay.
Hall,
Yes.
Brennan,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Rowe,
yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Inman.
Yes. 14, interlocal agreement, McLean County, discussion, consideration, possible action to approve the renewal of fiscal year 2023, 2024 interlocal agreement with McLean County for assistance from the city of Lindsay, or for the city of Lindsay, excuse me.
One of these contracts, and I can't remember which one's which, the McLean County has indicated that they'd like two agreements signed, basically showing us requesting assistance from them, and them requesting assistance from us. So both of these two items are the same, just doing what their attorney wants them to do.
And we need to act on them separate though, I guess.
Yes.
Okay. So 14, we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Inman,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Drennan,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Blau,
Yes.
15, interlocal agreement, McLean County, discussion, consideration, possible action to approve the renewal of fiscal year 2023, 2024 interlocal agreement with McLean County for assistance to the city of Lindsay.
Make a motion to move, to accept the interlocal agreement with McLean County.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Roll call, please.
Blau,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Drennan,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Inman,
Yes. 16, cemetery contract, discuss consideration and possible action to approve renewal of the independent contractor agreement with Monty Seltzer to provide for the opening and closing of graves and for overseeing funeral services for the term of 1 year beginning July the 1st, 2023.
I believe this is a standard agreement the city has entered into for several years, so I recommend we move forward.
Make a motion to approve the contract with Monty Seltzer.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Roll call, please.
Inman,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Drennan,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Blau,
Yes.
17, Delta Community Action Lease Renewal, discussion, consideration, possible action to approve the renewal for the lease agreement with Delta Community Action Foundation on 308 Southwest 2nd.
Again, I think it's a standard agreement that we've entered into for multiple years, so I recommend approval.
I'll make a motion to approve the renewal.
Second.
Motion's been made second. Roll call, please.
Blau,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Drennan,
Yes.
Barker,
Abstain.
Rowe,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Inman,
Yes. 18, ordinance number 573, discussion, consideration, possible action, and our possible amendment regarding ordinance number 573, and ordinance amending the retirement system defined benefit plan for the city of Lindsay, Oklahoma by providing special retirement option for eligible employees, EMS director based on the age and years of credited service of such employees, providing for severability and declaring an emergency.
This is similar to what we entered into in the fall with some other employees, so I recommend we approve the ordinance, and that amends the joiner agreement to allow the early retirement to be effective July 1.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Inman,
Yes?
Miller,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Drennan,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Blau,
Yes.
19, emergency clause, discuss consideration possible action to pass emergency clause for ordinance number 573.
Time is of the essence. I recommend we approve the emergency clause.
I'll make a motion that we approve.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Blau,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Drennan,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Inman,
Yes. 20, executive session, discussion, consideration, possible action to enter into executive session pursuant of 25 Oklahoma State Section 307B1, discuss the employment and hiring of a city manager / trust manager, Ms. Jantz, Sally Jantz.
Move to go into executive session.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Inman,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Drennan,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Blau,
Yes.
attorney.
Okay.
I thought you were, but I just wanted to make sure.
I was just signing the name.
Need a motion to reconvene from the executive session.
I'll make a motion to reconvene.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Cloud,
Yes, here.
Hall,
Yes.
Brennan,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Evans,
Yes. Okay. Then we need to do executive session, action, discussion, and then we get that, 23, right?
Actually, 22.
Okay. Discussion, consideration, possible action on any matter discussed in executive session on the employment, hiring of city manager / trust manager, Ms. James. Any?
Well, I'd like to get clarified on something. And it don't make sense to me at all. I got too much time on my hands, I've been told. She is getting, car allowance, if I'm understanding that correctly.
Yes. And you had access to that, knew that.
Right, well now, once I got all this, I had the time to study it. And that's another perk that is not normally out there.
It is.
Yeah.
Most cities, Don, give their city manager a vehicle to drive. In our case, we opt out to pay an allowance, so we don't have to buy a vehicle, we don't have to provide the insurance and everything that goes along with it. It's a better deal for us to pay a stipend for a car allowance than it is to purchase a vehicle along with the insurance and everything, maintenance and everything that goes along with it.
Okay, well, I mean, that does kind of make sense, what you're saying. I'm not familiar with all that. So this might be in Oklahoma. I mean, I'm from back east, so it's an entirely different world back there.
It's throughout the country. It's part of the package.
But I was concerned about that. And also her having 3 months. I'm not clear on when the pay would start. I spoke with Ray there, and he said we think it start when she signed on the dotted line on the contract.
Contract reads July 1st.
Right, and that's supposed to take effect July 1st?
Exactly.
Okay. Now, they only live an hour from here, right? So why are we giving her that much leeway, especially since in the past,
What are you talking about?
giving her 3 months to move into the district?
It takes,
Yeah, go ahead.
it takes time to find a home, Don, and compared to the past where they've had years
Yeah.
to find a house, 3 months is pretty restrictive.
That's pretty quick. I mean,
Yeah.
considering by the time you find one that
I've
can,
already got a house. If this goes through, I'll have one on Friday, so I will be here quicker than that.
Okay.
That was a concern, didn't understand it. No, like, I'm the newest guy here, I believe. Or person. When I don't understand something,
Huh?
I
You're not
can't
with
really
me, same spirit.
say yes or no. I can't vote on something if I don't understand what it's about.
All right.
And when I go talking to the people out there, go knock on the door and ask them, you know, how they doing and find out what their concerns are and whatnot. They ask me questions. I said, well, this is what's coming up. I really don't know what's about. I guess I need to go to class to explain all this stuff.
Don, it's gonna be a learning curve for a lot. Probably your first term, you're gonna feel good about your second term, knowing what you need to know. it takes that long. It's not you, it's just that long. There's lots to learn. So just ask the questions and, move forward. So it's, I think, you're going to training in June. I think that'll help you out. So asking the questions is what you need to do, but everything, you know, is being presented to you. And always feel free to come in the manager's office and ask questions prior to.
Honestly, it's taken, I mean, just speaking of myself, it's taken this whole year for me to get somewhat comfortable with the decisions we make.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why a lot of times I lean on Josh just to make the motion because he words it right, and all I gotta say is second. And so, cause sometimes I just say, yeah, let's just pass number 14. And because Josh has been here for several years, it'll come in time, and you'll be all right. It just takes a little bit of time.
Well, that's the reason that.
The other part is the fact that we've got, I mean, with Janice in here giving us all this stuff that lines everything out, you just, like you was talking about having trust that somebody's doing their job to give us the right information to say yes or no. And it's, in my case, for me, it's been very simplified with the stuff that you've given me.
Okay, anything else? Entertain a motion.
Any more questions on the contract now?
No, I'm good.
All right, I'll make a motion to approve the agreement for starting July 1st, 2023.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Inman,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Drennan,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Lau.
Yes.
Okay, executive session discussion, consideration of possible action entered into executive session pursuant to 25 Oklahoma State Section 307B4 for confidential communication between the council and the attorney concerning Garvin County case number CB 2387 if the public body, with the advice of its attorney, determines that disclosure will seriously impair the ability of the public body to conduct the pending litigation in the public interest. Did you write this one for us?
I most certainly did.
It sounds like an
And
attorney.
so it is the advice of counsel that we go into executive session to discuss these matters.
Make a motion to do so.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Lau,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Drennan,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Inman.
Yes. to reconvene.
Make a motion to reconvene executive session.
Nope, they don't know.
Where's
Oh.
our attorney? Our attorney is on.
Okay.
It's a good break time.
He did a good job.
You worded it so pretty.
Hey, Josh, had to run to the restroom if you'd right back.
Said that on public record.
Well, sometimes the one there's this way. That's as good a reason as any. isn't it? All right. Take one more and pass it out there. Okay, entertain a motion to return from executive session.
Make a motion to reconvene from executive session.
Second.
Motion's made, second, roll call, please.
Inman,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Drennan,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Blau,
Yes.
We're at 26 now, correct?
Yes.
Governing board comments, anybody have any comments?
Well, I'd like to bring up a issue here again. This is a budget time. Do we have any assets that is just sitting collecting dust or whatever
A lot of
that can
land.
be sold and money put into funds to cover expenses?
Yes, that's something that we probably, there's some land and stuff out there that, and there's some buildings that we need to look at it and make sure we're doing the right thing. I think we've kind of held off because we're looking at trying to sell that old dump property out there, and we got the pipeline, so we held off on that and kind of reevaluating to see, and I think we'll trust that. New advice we're getting for that.
And what about the golf course?
I think we
Because I spoke with Janice, and she informed me that the airport is almost functioning on its own.
golf course or airport?
Airport.
Okay.
Now, the golf course is not self-sustaining, and that's bleeding our budget.
Yeah,
And I
Something to
think
look
that
at.
needs to be looked into and a decision brought up in a meeting and voted on.
Don, those options are being explored as interest comes to the table, and when that formulates, it will be brought to the council when that occurs. And
Okay,
it's
when and if? When and if it occurs?
When or if it occurs.
Okay. Well, as of now, it's costing us money that we don't have. And the bottom line is, like I said, there's a lot of citizens out there that's had a really rough time, and here we are supporting a golf course that's not paying for itself. I mean, to me, it's just simple math.
There's more to it than that, Don.
we're looking at that. We're looking at other options, and we're trying different things, and there may be maybe we're both we don't know what the best option is, but we need, you know saying, better look before you leap, so water's run deep. We want to make sure we make the right decision. This is like I was gung-ho to sell that old dump out there, and then I kind of cooled my jets when we found out we're getting that pipeline across there, and, we'll make sure we're making the best decision for long term. Because sometimes there'll be a page 2 to it, and there's some information that we need to make sure we're aware of, and or not, maybe we don't know what's going on, maybe we need to do that. I'm not saying we don't. And I'm not disagreeing with you. Nobody's gonna tell you the golf course is making money. I don't think there's a plan to turn it around overnight. But we need to look and do some detailed planning on it. It's gonna take some planning on it, I think, for sure.
Right. Well, I'm assuming this has been going on since I've been here, that the golf course never supported itself.
Always been.
And it's always
Oh,
been,
I don't think it's ever supported
I
itself.
don't think it ever has.
It's kind of like the swimming pool, it doesn't support itself,
Well-
but it's a way of life.
It's just, it's quality of life.
and now
It's something that attracts
that's a
people
good
to
point
the
what he
place.
said, but I will go to fight for the park. Here again, it's for the kids.
Except
Yeah.
The
that's
swim
the
pool
part
and
of the
stuff?
same- It's part of the same trust,
Yeah,
the golf course and the park, and they're all part of the
That
same.
I don't know yet, I haven't been,
We're gonna have to find some documentation.
I think your point is well taken. I think we need to look at it and see what's the best, I don't know what the best option is. I don't think we decide right now. I think we need to make sure we know all of the ins and outs. And
yeah, well,
going forward, I agree, we need to look at it. Now, the golf course is not an overnight problem. It's been there for a long time. It's a good thing, but it's also an expensive thing. So I don't know. We need to look at what is the best option, how we can, if we can increase revenues, or if we do something different. We need a little bit more time to look at it. Everybody would agree that we'd like to quit losing money.
One of the things you'd have to look at is making an 18-hole course. And that would take a substantial amount of money and investment to do. And whether we want to do something like that or maintain the way it is, or, but you look at within a 20-mile radius, there's probably 4 or 5 18-hole courses that people can go to. So that's what you're looking at.
And they're
Well,
in better shape.
The one they
And
put
they're
in up
safe.
here by Dibble killed us. I mean, that's kind of it's a tough call,
Yeah.
but we need to look at it because we'll close it tomorrow. I promise you're gonna get some feedback
Yeah.
and a lot of it. And I'm not saying that someday it may close, someday we may do something different. We may figure out a better option. We need some time to look at it because that's a problem. It's not going away, but we need to figure out the best way to address it. I'm not prepared. I wouldn't be prepared tonight to vote for sure on anything.
Mr.
could
Mayor,
we get it?
we couldn't vote anyway because it's
Yeah.
not on the agenda. But I just want to kind of steer us back on track, make sure that we get any other governing board comments.
Yeah. Anybody got anything else?
yeah, I do.
Okay.
I looked over the vehicle list that we got, a month ago. And I noticed that EMS and fire they both have ATVs and they both have drones. But our police department doesn't have any. So my question is, could we not transfer one of the ATVs and one of the drones to the police department? There's 2 down at EMS and fire, so they've got 2 housed down there. Can we not take one, put it up for the PD to use, the drones for the PD to use, and then leave one down here for EMS and fire?
I will look at that and talk with Ms. Jans, and she's hearing this, so it's something to consider.
Any other comments?
Do we have any present plans, or have you thought about the surplus vehicles we do have, about getting those prepared for?
Those need to be gathered along with some other city equipment that the departments are gathering up to declare surplus, and probably on your July meeting, those vehicles will be in that along with an other list, because it's building up and it's time to either have an auction or start disposing of them through other ways of selling them. So July should be a time to bring those items for declaration of surplus.
Okay, and could you give us an update on the pipeline?
They have not started, they have not contacted me, they have made that payment. We're just in the agreement. I think the agreement allows them, if they don't start within 2 years, then, you know, the easement goes away. So, but I have not been contacted by Winnow to get on the property.
How about the water meters? Are they, is that just about ready to?
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of review all
She's
of
gonna
those.
go
Oh, I'm
through all
sorry.
that.
No,
Okay.
you're good. That way,
Any other comments before I turn it over to her?
I just have one, I just want to thank you for helping us out throughout this past year.
Yeah, amen to that.
thank you.
Your
It's
experience has
been,
been invaluable to us.
it's been
I mean,
fun, but not fun at times, but,
I'm sure.
it was good to be back in Lindsay and see some people I've met 20 plus years ago, and so Lindsay always has a special place for me, so I appreciate all your efforts and y'all helping me get through some of those difficult times, so it's been enjoyable.
It's amazing since he's only 25 years old.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead and give us your comments, city manager.
I've kind of written it out, but I'll kind of ad-lib here. The audit is ongoing. Staff has been busy pulling documentation as requested from our audit team, which is HBC out of Chickasha. That's our audit team. They're working on 21. Staff is still working to get those records pulled. They will be on site June 20th and 21st to review those documentation and pull any other information they may see fit once they get through those items. 21 and 22 financials we're looking for some agreements that can't be found. Those should be submitted to the audit firm here within the next few weeks. I anticipate your audit should be given to you July, maybe, but it could be August, but at least we see the light at the end of the tunnel. We do have a draft of the 21, but until the auditor presents these to you guys at a meeting, those will remain in that draft form until that is reviewed with you. The meter installation, we have been having team meetings this month, or the last couple of weeks. We've got our base station. Daryl has worked on that, where we've done some test metering, and it is reading with the electric. We've installed an electric meter. I believe Thursday, they will be in town installing another water meter at 2 addresses. We've chosen city employees because they're easy access, and they can get in and check to see their reading capability. PMI is the construction installation contractor. They will be in town starting on Monday. We will have a team meeting to kick off. When we know the area that they're beginning, we've been given samples of news releases. We'll do some social media posting because they will be in that area. People will be affected with water turn-offs when they do the meter can and the water meter. With the water meter can installation included in this, they're only going to be able to do anywhere from 8 to 10 a day, so that's going to be kind of slow. But we'll also have to encourage our residents to, when that water's off, run your water because you could get some discoloration. They're also going to help us do what we're required to do from DEQ, lead and copper testing. So when they're on site pulling those meters out, we're going to we'll identify the customer line, whether it's lead or copper, and whether we have to note this and turn all this information to DEQ. That has to be done by 2024, so they're going to help. And while they're there, they're doing latitude, longitude, they're doing pictures. It's going to be very informational as they progress. Electric meters are still running behind. We have a few, they're hoping late summer. Once they get in, they'll start installing those. Electric meters will be very quick. The water meter and water meter cans is going to be a slower process.
Will somebody's going with them, or at least checking there as they go and make sure that, because I know that was what I was told the last time. Josh, you might remember, it was a nightmare. They put some on the south side of town, should have been on the north, and different areas.
Yeah, they are going to what they call marry those meters into the system while they're on site. So that
Okay.
will be done on site. I think it's on this next agenda. The Tyler Technologies will bring all of that data in and take all of our old data into their metering system. So it's kicking off. So the installers will be hanging door hangers. They'll be making customer contact before they disconnect. So, but we are gonna have crews, we are limited crews, so Brandon's gonna try to, cause we may have 3 construction crews. I mean, hopefully the more construction installers they bring to town, the faster we can move. So, we're gonna be on top of that, and then we'll have training in-house in order how to retrieve and gather that data as well.
Back to the lead and the copper. Now, if you have a homeowner that has lead piping, what's gonna be done for them, and is there any help for them?
The representative from DEQ has indicated there could be funding coming down for them. You know, that's gonna present issues for the city in
Yes.
some areas of town.
Yes.
So we're gonna have to figure out, as that is identified, and get with DEQ, and they can help us identify homeowner funding, because we know a lot of them cannot afford to replace those lines.
Okay.
So that is a good question, and that is gonna be an option that we need to be pursuing to have ready for when, I don't know the timeframe DEQ has given us to mandate that. Of course, their issue is to us, and this is tough, well, if they don't, then just disconnect them. That's tough to do.
Yeah.
So, that's something that needs to be working on as this thing progresses, where the DEQ is gonna provide some funding to the homeowners. The EMS, we have, as you know, we have a vacancy. Brian Davis will be filling in as acting director while he will be on the shift and remain on the truck. Also, we're going to be doing some assessments with consultants coming in there within the next couple of weeks. Not from our perspective, but from the Lindsay Municipal Hospital perspective. They are aware of that, and that information gather will begin, and then we'll be advertising for an EMS director, start internally, then move out if we need. One thing that's very critical that's going to come up is past due counts of existing, excuse me, that has.
Could I ask you one question on
Sure.
EMS, please, before we get off that? It's my understanding in the paperwork we got and everything, we have 10 full-time EMS.
That's what
employees,
is showing up on the roster.
and we have 9 part-time. And we've not had anybody dismissed or terminated.
We have not dismissed or terminated anybody.
Okay, I just wanted to put that out there so the public's informed.
All right, yeah.
Is that fully staffed?
No, they're not fully staffed.
Okay.
They're still short on shift. And recruiting is difficult. It's not that they're not trying. And we have that many part-time, but they don't always take the shifts when we offer. So they do and are trying to offer those holes in their shifts to those part-time. If not, then a full-time will have to do that to keep 2 ambulances running.
Yes.
And that's the difficult part right there. But I think it's going to be a little while on the new ambulance. I think the county's still receiving bids. It could be September, October. I was informed over there that that's doable for them. They're not hurting. There's no equipment breakdown that's going to, you know, I'm saying that, and you never know. So we've got it covered until we find a solution on oversight and management, and also some solutions on departmental operations from outside sources. The past due balances, we still have active accounts that have large balances owing. The ladies are attempting to collect, but it's at the point where there's some who are just ignoring us and their bill continues to grow. So starting in probably, take the hit this time, there will be some people disconnected after they've been asked and we tried to call, no answer, they're ignoring us. Your bill's now up to $3,000. It's time to pay. So I will be helping taking some of those actions in this round of cutoffs. Those things will come up as audit issues. Dobson Fiber Network, they have contacted us to enter into a right-of-way agreement and a poll agreement. I believe the city attorney is looking at those. They want to put fiber to every home. So they want to come in and once we get those agreements done, their planning process, right now they're planning and they would like these agreements to be worked. Their goal, they have several packages. I can give you their PowerPoint at some point if y'all would be interested. That's affordable, but if you really need high speed, a lot of data, you know, you've got something else to, I think, 4 tiers to do that. So that's a good thing that's going to be coming down the pike as well. I passed out a packet of information on a training I attended with the state auditor, and actually our former attorney Amanda Mullins did the presentation on a lot of the open meeting, open records. I thought that'd be informative. It's pretty interesting on what some cities do to go to jail.
Well, want to know that.
Yeah. July 1st are the fireworks events going on, and staff will be helping with them. We still have vacancies for the EMS director. We have an interim police chief. We'll be advertising for chief. Actually, that'll be your new manager's decision moving forward on those vacancies. City clerk is still available, and we're still looking. We're always looking for dispatchers and paramedics and EMTs and all of those things. So that's all I have.
Make a motion to adjourn the LPWA.
Second.
Motion adjourned and second. Roll call, please.
Inman.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes.
Rowe.
Yes.
Barker.
Yes.
Drennan.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Lau.
Yes.
Okay, the LPWA agenda, call the meeting to order. Roll call, please.
Lau.
Yes. Here.
Hall.
Here.
Drennan.
Here.
Barker.
Here.
Rowe.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Inman.
Here. Number 3, consent agenda, discussion, consideration, possible action on the consent agenda. The following items are considered routine by the Lindsay Public Works Authority and will be enacted with one motion. Discussion desired on any item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered separately. Anybody wish anything to be removed?
We'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Motion been made, get a second.
Second.
Second, roll call, please.
Inman.
Yes?
Miller.
Yes.
Rowe.
Yes.
Barker.
Yes.
Drennan.
Yes.
Hall.
Yes.
Lau.
Yes.
Number 4, consideration of item, 5, bid notice 2023-02 substation geotechnical study. Discussion, consideration, possible action on bids, proposals received for bid notice 2023-02. Lindsay geotechnical testing for 3 locations and renominate to engage Amrite testing for $15,152 as the least bid due to the number of borings.
That is not the low bid. The low bid is $14,400. However, we recommend we go to Amrite testing due to they have a total of 12 borings and the other had a total of 6. So for $752, we're going to go with the 12 borings. And that is total. This is a lot cheaper than we was anticipating, so.
Okay. Make a motion to approve AIM-RIGHT testing.
Second.
Motion second, roll call please.
Blau,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Drennan,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Inman,
Yes. 6, Tyler Technologies. Discuss consideration and possible action to enter into an agreement with Tyler Technologies, Encode Billing Information Software for mass meter swap for electric and water accounts in the amount of $23,930 with a $3,000 fee to be reoccurring annual expense.
This was brought to our attention and need on one of our meetings. This is within our my spending limit, but I did want council to be aware of this and acknowledge the approval of this. This is basically taking all your customer data, your meter numbers, everything, and transporting them over into the new system. That's electric and water, and then that's a bulk of data that is gonna be used in that. And this is, we've set this up, and I think Lisa's been working on a lot of information on this with UTS, who their technology person is helping us get that done. I recommend you go ahead and approve that and acknowledge that being done.
First year, do we have to pay the $3,000, or is it just start second year with the $3,000 fee? I know it's $23,930 amount we pay.
23 is with the
1,000
in
fee
it.
in there,
Yeah.
okay, so we would, the next year, we'd start the $3,000
Yes.
fee, okay.
And this was not covered in any of the loan documents or
Right,
anything.
okay.
This is coming out of our pocket.
Okay. Any other questions or entertain a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the agreement with Tyler Technologies to pay the $23,930 and then $3,000 on annual.
Second.
Motion second's been made, roll call please.
Inman,
Yes?
Miller,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Drennan,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Blau,
Yes.
Water plant, discuss consideration of possible action to authorize to seek bids for the water plant on the carbon replacement.
This is a carbon media change out for the pre-filtration system at the plant. The purpose of this, I believe this was added to the plant after it was constructed, is to remove the discoloration, taste, undesirable taste, odor, and foam in the treatment process. This will run 80,000 plus, maybe more.
I think it's been 100.
How long is that good
Yeah, about
for? I know that's probably a question that,
Well, some say it should be good for 10 years, but we're doing it about every 3 or 4 years.
well, I thought, yeah. I think they did it right as soon as I got in office. I think we did it last time.
Yeah, I mean, we're.
That's how
Yeah. Or before we started, but that was one of the first things I,
Is that because of the water we're dealing with?
The hardness, the
Hardness of the
discolor.
water.
Yeah, because this was added after that plant was built, I was informed, so it's something you gotta do.
it's my understanding that basically you got to.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, well, you could say we're not riding water anymore, but.
Well, that's part of the 4,000 a month that is transferred over into the, it's not the infrastructure fund, but it's for the water plant, and I think there's about 90,000, maybe by the time we bid, we may wipe it all out, so that could be used in that regard.
Make a motion to authorize getting bids.
Second.
Motion's been made second, roll call please.
Blau,
Yes.
Paul,
Yes.
Drennan,
Yes.
Barker,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Inman,
Yes. Number 8, governing board comments. Any comments?
Well, I wouldn't mind understanding a little bit more. I was informed that we are in, as far as the deficit goes, our budget, we're in the black, correct?
We will end year-end June 2023 in the black. There will be no deficit spending. We have made budget amendments, budget supplements in order to cover any overage ran and transfer that around. We're good for this year. You've got some past years that need to be addressed. Those, if we end with a fund balance, they will whittle away that deficit from previous years. I think in the next few months, Mr. Crawford will come to your meeting and discuss in more detail any questions you have. So this year we stayed within our budgetary guidelines.
And what we're voting on now, that's already covered in the budget.
What you just voted on?
Yeah,
You're moving into a new year beginning July 1.
Everything's projected. I mean, you're guessing, educated guess, how much money we're gonna spend in all those departments.
Mhm.
You know, you've got some facts and figures based that on, but there's no, I mean, you can't, in theory, you can't spend more than that. If you do, you have to come back to,
You have to come back to the council. Do a supplement, amendment. Your sales tax starts dropping, you need to watch what you're spending, and your management will keep you informed of that process, or your monthly financials you're getting.
if we had some emergency, you know, we may, I mean, you don't want to do that, but that could happen, you know, and you just, you know, you can say, well, we don't want to spend any more money. You know, there's sometimes, you know, well, people like water at their house and, you know, sewer system and stuff, you know, it's just kind of, sometimes you got to do those things, but it's, what we got down right now, the money that we've approved is for next year, faith estimate, basically. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns or comments? I'd just like to thank this lady right here. Guys, I'm telling you, we were in a difficult situation and she pulled her fat out of the fire. Now, we're not there yet, but we're a lot better off than we were. And I appreciate all the hard work you've done and everything you've done to help us. And we're hopefully going to go forward and look forward to the positive things in the future. We're excited to have Sally here, so. I guess it's okay if I call you Sally. I'll call you anything you want as long as you do good. Any other comments? You have any comments for us?
Well, again, I appreciate the opportunity. I didn't expect a lot of the things that came across, but I've been around a lot for the last 35 plus years as city manager, so I've seen a lot, and things got a little rough at times, but I think we all weathered it, and you've got a solid council that makes a world of difference when you're trying to correct problems and bring solutions and build a team. And Sally and I visited this afternoon quite a bit. She's still here, so she didn't get scared. So I think it will be a good change out, and I've offered her and you guys any assistance if you need anything as we move forward. So thank you all.
Anything else? Entertain a motion to adjourn then.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Inman,
Yes.
Miller,
Yes.
Rowe,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Drennan,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Lau.
Yes.
Thank you. This time is all.